Did you see the joy on his face? I just love that. I love that.
Your name was Cheryl. Cheryl Grace.
Cheryl full of grace.
I don't know how to respond to that.
Gracefully.
Gracefully. Thank you. Thank you. Thank
We
you.
love you, Your Grace.
I love you too. Oh, can you believe it's November? I mean, didn't we just have July? Yeah. 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 Pretty neat. One of the things I love that we get to this season of November, and the air really reminded us this week that it was here. Thanksgiving is my favorite holiday. When I was growing up, we went to my favorite aunt's house, and everybody was there, and we had every kind of food. We were so blessed. And then when I had my own family, I made a big celebration of it. I used to put a big roll of paper on the hallway wall in my apartment and have the girls write what they were thankful for. And we were in the kitchen with our aprons on, and whatever you had in your hand was a microphone. And music was playing, and that we were dancing and singing, and there was like 5 of us, and we had 6 desserts and all my mother's traditional things. And then on top of that, I would tell the girls that I'll do the cooking, but you have to put on the entertainment. So they would create a show. And I can't get them to do it anymore. But I remember one year there was like 7 acts. There was costume changes. So they really got into it then, but I think they would probably not attend if I told them that was a requirement now. So this year, my heart just was really awakened to this whole idea of Thanksgiving, and I wanted to be more than a day. So that's why I'm here today, to see if I can band up a group to help me celebrate gratitude. And so I was starting to think about this and how could I extend this practice. And in meditation one morning, I was reminded of a woman. Well, I don't know if any of you know, but before I moved into ministry, I worked in the optical field for like 14 or 15 years. And that all happened because I moved near my mom because she needed help and I needed a job, and I got hired as a receptionist. But being who I am, I wanted to learn everything. So I learned how to fit glasses and frames and all the different lenses and all of that. Well, our practice was one of the few in the town that accepted Medicaid patients. So that time, I don't know what it's like now, but at that time, there was only like 4 or 5 frames they could choose from, and they were what's called serviceable eyewear. They were not glamorous or attractive. The one that I remember the most, you probably remember from years past, was a big plastic frame, and the temples came off the bottom. And so most people really complained about their choices, and they were not happy. But what I remembered in meditation was one patient whose name was Grace. And that woman came into the office as bright as the sun. She was full of gratitude when we set the frames in front of her and said, "Oh my, I don't know how to pick. They're all so beautiful." Now that's got to be at least 25 years ago, and Grace Parker has remained with me ever since. Her attitude touched me so much. And we've talked about this. We talk about how our energy touches everyone around us, even if it's the smallest exchange. So she just came back to me this year, and she looked at every one of those frames as if they were a priceless gem, and she would look them and put them on and look in the mirror. It was just the most beautiful, radiant thing, and her attitude has stayed with me. I can use more of that in my life. So that's why I want to extend the Thanksgiving energy into the month of November, at least. Okay, we'll just start with this. So, I recently also became familiar with a Unity minister by the name of Ogun Holder, and I hope I'm saying his name right. He's the senior minister of Unity on the River in Amesbury, Massachusetts. And his first book is titled Rants to Revelations, Unabashedly Honest Reflections on Life, Spirituality, and the Meaning of God. The title makes me want to get it, doesn't it? So it tells his life story, which, just like ours, includes complexities, multiple directions, unfathomable grief. And he believes, he stated that everything that happens in our lives is an opportunity to show up as God. And it's not like I haven't heard that before, but when I had grace come into my energy when I was praying that morning, and then I read this line, grace showed up as God. Everything was an opportunity for her. I know she didn't probably think that through, but it was a part of her. Reverend Holder also says, at every point along our journey, we are God. We are the Christ. We are the divine. The human experience calls us into transformation. Now, I don't know about you. That's not good news to me. Ultimately, it's good news, right? But often when I feel called into transformation, I go into victimhood. After I wallow around in poor me lake for a little while, I finally realize that I need to reach up to the raft of my divine self. Most often I do that by focusing on this moment. If I'm in pain, I find out what's not hurting, even if it's my baby toe. I focus on what is good, what's going right. That lifts me then up out of this place of victimhood and brings me into gratitude. It brings me back into my higher self. And I feel so much more peaceful when I'm in that place. So that's the gift of gratitude. With gratitude, we shift our focus. We connect to the truth that there is infinite goodness all around us all the time. And eventually, just like when the doctor shifts and do you see better here? Do you see better here? We get clearer vision of the truth of our being and the truth of the world around us. When we do that, we can eventually see that the circumstances that we bemoaned are really an avenue to love. I'm reading a book, and I'll have to get you the name of it, but she just put me in this place of feeling this stream of love, and when we go into meditation, maybe we can work with that, just feeling that stream of love. And instead of being focused on the difficulty or the pain, we affirm we are healing. We are healing. And we are. We always are, whether we want to get out of that lake of self-pity or not. So with that gratitude, we receive the gift of grace. The grace of gratitude can be ours in any moment. Certainly in times of great joy and celebration, that bubbles up and it's very evident. But moments of great challenge, seen through the eyes of grace, can contain deeper meaning and satisfaction as well. Reverend Dr. Michelle Medrano calls this choice to move into gratitude and grace a self-facilitated moment of grace. We all want to have control, don't we? We do. It's about our choices, a self-facilitated moment of grace. She also makes a very important point in saying that the goal is not to stop the experience we're having right now, but that gratitude can be an additional layer of experience that we can claim at any time. A friend of mine is into this compassionate mindful self-compassion. And sometimes when I'm having difficulty and I talk to her, I feel like she's saying, no, don't do that, do this. But I loved the way Reverend Medrano says it's an added layer. It doesn't mean that you deny I'm in pain, I'm grieving, or whatever. It just is alongside of it. In addition to it, we also have grace. We also have gratitude. And if we take that attitude, then we don't add self-condemnation to the difficulties that we're dealing with. We simply acknowledge the current experience and then allow grace to move in and transform our energy. This is how we show up as God. There's a lot of science to support all of this, and I want to touch on it. I'm not a scientist, but I always think that it's nice to know that there's chemistry and, science behind what goes on. It's not just that we're thinking, oh, I have good thoughts now. Science supports that if we move into the energy of gratitude, this can change us not only in the moment, but in future moments. A study was done at the University of California, Berkeley, where nearly 300 adults participated. They were randomly divided into 3 groups. All participants were dealing with mental health difficulties, who isn't, including anxiety and depression. Do you really know anybody who's completely mentally healthy all the time? Not me. Anyway, they were all dealing with mental health difficulties, including anxiety and depression, and they all received counseling services. Okay, so we start with that. So the first group was instructed to write one letter of gratitude to another person who they truly felt gratitude for every week for 3 weeks. We have 3 weeks till Thanksgiving, folks. The second group was given the assignment to journal about their deepest thoughts and feelings about the difficult things they were experiencing. And that was the second group. Did I say that? The third group didn't do any writing activity. They just participated in counseling. The study found that compared to the participants who wrote about their negative experiences and the ones who only received counseling, those who wrote gratitude letters reported significantly better mental health, even for up to 12 weeks after the exercise was done. This suggests that gratitude writing can be beneficial, and we've all heard about, Oprah publicized the gratitude journal, but I liked this because it took us another step, you know. This suggests that gratitude can be beneficial to those who struggle with mental health issues, as well as healthy, well-adjusted individuals who we don't know at all, right? I'm not putting any of you down. It's just so interesting. Did you ever see that cartoon where it's a meeting of people who didn't have issues with their parents or something, and there's nobody in the room? So, researchers from Berkeley further identified how gratitude might actually work on our minds and our bodies. The 4 insights from their research suggested the causes and benefits, what causes the benefits of gratitude. 1, gratitude unshackles us from toxic emotions. 2, gratitude helps even if you don't share it. 3, gratitude's benefits take time and practice. You might not feel it immediately. And 4, gratitude has lasting effects on the brain. The brain part to me is very interesting. The researchers measured brain activity with an MRI scanner. And while people from each group, so this is another study. They measured it while people from each group did a pay it forward activity. Each person was given money by a nice person. The only request was that the participants pass on the money to someone to whom they truly felt grateful. They did this because they wanted to distinguish between actions motivated by gratitude and those driven by other motivations such as obligation or guilt or the opinions of others. This is important because we can't fake gratitude. You actually have to feel it. So additionally, the participants were asked to rate how grateful they felt toward the person giving them the money and how much they wanted to pay it forward to a charitable cause, as well as how guilty they thought they would feel if they didn't help. They found that across the board, when people felt more grateful, their brain activity was distinct from the brain activity related to guilt. And even more interestingly, those who wrote the gratitude letters and also gave from a true sense of wanting to help showed positive changes in the brain for up to 3 months after the study. Powerful stuff. Researchers are now discovering that not just the brain, but the heart also responds to this whole process, and that the heart is responsible for sending the signals to the brain. The researchers at HeartMath, which we've talked about before, have proven that with positive emotions like gratitude, love, or appreciation, the heart beats out a different message, which determines the kind of messages sent to the brain. Since the heart beats out the largest electromagnetic field of all, it's the largest electromagnetic field produced by your body is from your heart. So when we learn to shift our emotions, it changes the information coded into the magnetic fields radiated by the heart. And it can impact those around us. How many times have you heard me talk about that? I don't know the science. I don't even fully grasp it. But I find if we get too bogged down in what they know, we just get bogged down. So let's just, I just want to take that here's this electromagnetic field, that we have a choice how to direct that energy. And when we choose to direct it in a positive way, we impact ourselves but we impact our world. And doesn't our world need that? All this research validates the idea that if we change our inner world through gratitude, empathy, compassion, and meditation, we can make our outer world more peaceful. So back to my friend Grace Parker, who to me is a living, breathing example that this research can be made manifest on earth. Remembering Grace and the lasting impression that she's left with me all these years, and then discovering the research behind the effects of gratitude, made me desire to experiment with practical ways that I can create a greater Thanksgiving experience. So I invite you to join me. You might want to experiment with writing a letter of gratitude each week this month, and notice whatever you're experiencing, notice if you do that, if your life does move into more positive energy. I'm resolving to do that experiment. Or if you don't feel drawn to writing, I have another suggestion. As we move toward the holidays, I want to prepare myself in more than physical and material ways. I found inspiration in Reverend Medrano's suggestion to use the month of November to create a rampage of gratitude. I just thought this group could get behind that. So this is why we need your talk on the 23rd. We're going to create a rampage of gratitude. She takes... Excuse me?
Is it okay to text if you don't do a letter?
Well, honey, I think it's your heart that matters. So I think it can be
Because
texting.
you text very quickly every day
Yeah.
to somebody.
Speed isn't really the issue here.
But immersion is.
Yes. It's what you pour into that from your being. And I don't have any doubt that you will do that if you text. But I do love the idea of writing. I'm a traditional in that way. You know, to write something out, I feel very connected with it, and spirit just writing a talk works through me, and that flows, and I think of more things. When I'm texting, I always feel a little bit like I'm cheating. Because I'm not gonna, I don't know about you, but if I look at my phone and I'm like, oh my God, this text is 3 pages long, you know. But if I got a personal letter from someone, especially in this day and age, how lovely it would be that someone took the time and the thought and the energy to put that in. So I just trust that you and anyone else who wants to text will put in that time, love, and energy. And it's all for you anyway. It's nothing for me. So anyway, Reverend Medrano and her rampage of gratitude. She takes inspiration for this idea from Cheri and Esther Hicks. You might know them from the Law of Attraction. I think we all got drowned in that when it came. But the idea is to begin looking around your immediate environment and gently noticing something that pleases you. Try to hold your attention on that thing for a few minutes and let yourself feel deeply in your heart the gift of grace that pleasing thing is bringing you. So as you absorb that, then gently think of something else. Look around and see something else that pleases you. And then begin to explore that with your heart. Like, you know, it's so beautiful. It's so useful. It's, you know, whatever it is to you. So notice how you're feeling within. once your good feeling is stronger than when you began, move on. Okay? So, of course, you don't need to focus on objects. You can focus on people. You can focus on a condition in your life. Whatever you want, whatever you're drawn to. This is a heart exercise. Remember that energy that we want to expand and use from our hearts. We want to tap into that and focus on things and appreciate their gift to us. So the longer that you focus on things that make you feel good, the easier it will be to maintain those good feelings after you move out of this experience. And the law of attraction teaches us that the more we focus on good, the more good we draw into our lives. So as we do this practice, we're moving into the fullness of the Christ energy that we are. It increases that in our lives. Our heart vibrations expand, and we touch everyone around us, even when we get up and walk away from that practice. And then we become the gift of the holidays. And that is the true gift that we all have to give, no matter what our financial means. So namaste, my beautiful friends. Let's go into meditation, and let's just spend a little time with this rampage. So as you center yourself, your feet grounding you to the earth, and the top of your head just expanding with energy to connect to your highest self. Just breathe deeply for a few minutes, seeing that connection. If there is something in your life right now that's particularly nagging at you, one choice right now might be to focus on what isn't nagging at you. So if you have pain, focus on a place where you feel good. If you have financial challenges, focus on a place where there is abundance. If you have troubled relationships, focus on something that's very good in that relationship. Let yourself just take a minute to choose a focus. So now as you choose that focus of your grace and your gratitude, simply appreciate. Let your heart expand with everything wonderful about that gift. And continue to do that until you feel your heart expanding and warming. Notice that increased light. Notice the increased feeling that you have of goodness, of gratitude, of joy, of love, of appreciation. Notice that. And now, if you do this practice at home, this would be where you choose another thing to focus your energy on. Right now, let's focus our energy on being truly grateful for the gifts that we have, for the love in our lives, for the peace and expansion that comes when we choose to unite with our higher self. Your heart opens, a smile fills your face, and you are a blessing. You are a blessing. And so it is. Namaste, my friends. Thank you.